Johnny said, "Oh, we should do it this way," and then it was silence, and like, "Okay, we'll do that." And then ROG just goes, "That's the shit." Right? There was something like there was a period there where I was still like in the Irish 23, and then you come back to Munster, and you just felt like you weren't shown the respect, kind of.
Takes him a litre of brandy and coke to get drunk.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy legs. Heavy legs.
He's an expensive day. Literally a litre of brandy and coke to get that man drunk.
And we have our first guest. You're the perfect man to intro him. Who have we got?
Welcome to What the Ruck with Conor Murray. Man
intro.
needs no introduction, sure. You list out his achievements there. There's too many for me.
Three times.
Have you them written down?
We have a few now. 3 times Lion Tourist, 5 Six Nations Championships, 2-time Grand Slam winner, 2 URC titles. Quite the haul.
Magners League, as it was back then. Yeah.
And probably the best title of all, a former teammate of Dave Kilcoyne.
Yeah, the one I'm most proud of, 100%. Yeah. That's nice hearing that all that back. But yeah, it's a bit surreal still, isn't it, being retired and
Recent
like,
book writer.
recent author, columnist.
Columnist.
What else do I have at the minute?
So we said former teammate. Is that weird to even still hear? Like former Munster star, former Ireland star. Is that strange to even hear that now?
Yeah, isn't it? I still, yeah, like, I mean, Killer would be friends forever. So, like, there's certain groups of lads that you'll stick
former
with.
friends.
Former teammates.
Just
lads you can call in for favours to come on their podcast. Yeah. That's probably the extent of it now.
We'll never see each other again after this. Sound for that, Mark.
About half an hour left. Yeah. It's weird. No, I think we got to, Dave probably agree, but we got to call it on our own terms pretty much, like get to our mid-30s and finish up. And people always ask lately, like, is it hard to kind of process or whatever, but like maybe it's coming down the line, but at the minute I'm kind of like, no, I'm happy we got to go out on our own terms, and we've had lads, teammates, friends who've retired early with injury and like not getting renewed a contract, whereas, you know, we got to go out kind of saying it ourselves, which I always aspired to doing, like making sure I could do that, like rather than being kicked out the door.
Yeah, I'd hardly call falling in a heap in Ravenhill going out on your own terms, but
well, we tried. We tried. You nearly got there.
No, but he's dead right. If you get to like mid-30s, 36, like in both our cases. Like I was only chatting to Dan Levy the other day. You know, fella probably the world at his feet, going so well, and then a big catastrophic injury right when he's hitting his prime. And you know, you look at things like that, and they make you nearly more grateful for us having that longevity. And we were even chatting yesterday, just about the amount of coaches and different players you get to chat to, all like the relationships you built with all these different coaches. I know now at Munster we've said it could have been to our detriment because there was such changes over time. But then the other side of it is, you look at the brilliant people you get to work with. You know, even going back to Rob, you know,
Dumper,
Rob
and
Tony
Dumper, Tony McGann, and all these lads,
Axel,
And
the
two of you, David showed me the other day, you lived together when you were there making debuts as well. And
so great. Did he go into detail?
No, he said he saved it for this.
Yeah, brilliant.
Mount Joy's around the corner.
Exactly,
this is just kicking off now. We don't want to get we don't want to get what we got it blacklisted.
No, but I suppose like how old were you then? Like, were you kind of late teens? Like, what was?
Were we 21, man?
When you went to the World Cup in 2011.
Yeah, I was just 22, so we probably moved into that house at 21. Me, Killard, Mike Sherry, Paddy Butler, and Declan Cusack. Like that was some crack. Like we were, for me anyway. I don't know, Killer probably explain his side of it, but we were just breaking into the Munster team, playing professional games, stuff we probably didn't think would happen until a little bit later, or even happen at all, and still living like 21, 22-year-olds, just enjoying life. And thinking back, like as life goes on, you get responsibilities and all sorts of things. Like that was carefree, wasn't it? We just
look back now, and it seems so long ago, but it's still, you remember those days so well, don't you? It's like you're living nearly, like we were all in college. Like I think we were just in 4th year, 3rd year in college, but then so you're going to lectures during the day, then you're training.
Yeah.
Probably we were doing club training in the evening. You probably
were
a bit ahead.
They were a bit late developers.
Murray was at home drinking. Murray was drinking strawberry daiquiris.
I was with Declan Kidney.
But then you go, and then you're playing in Thomond Park in front of all your friends and family at 22. It's looking back.
So when the buzz is real big,
and,
it still was big playing in later years, but like that was like, oh my.
And
like,
at the start,
my mates are there and they'd love to be doing this. Like,
and in fact, we're probably breaking into that old team when you still had Foley, ROG, all them lads. We would have grown up going to the games to watch. They're your heroes, you know. And then all of a sudden you are playing with them.
Yeah. Found that really weird. Then
you're going to Angel Lennon night, and then
then you're out that night.
35 people back to the house.
And it must have been a whirlwind for you though, because I suppose that section of nines in Munster time would have been Stringer and Tomás O'Leary.
Yeah, Duncan Williams, Jerry Hurley. There was a list of them. Yeah, and so to break in at that, yeah, like same with David Marcus Horn and these guys breaking in, and I suppose having
Dave Ryan, Dara Hurley, VN. You just look back the amount of players that have come and gone that you'd like. But
even just to get into that group and get it like compete with these guys, whereas like we were probably looking on to Stringer and Tomás and you and Marcus and these guys, like, oh, they're just heroes, or they're lads like maybe when they're gone you might get a crack. So that was whirlwind for me, because it was the year I kind of just got, I don't know, did I get lucky or I kind of snuck in late that season and then got to the World Cup. But yeah, it was like imposter syndrome for a while. Like so a team you look up to for so long, and then you all of a sudden you're playing with these guys was weird.
Yeah, and like that 2011 World Cup, I think we were even chatting about, like, you went from having, you know, the crack and the banter with lads in the house, and then next thing Conor starting 9 in that 2011 World Cup. Did you even find that mad yourself? Like, it was
mad. It
experienced Owen Redden in the squad, and
like it started with like Munster when Strings and Tomás were away with Ireland for Six Nations. I just got a few games and I was like, brilliant, I'll just go back to like the academy or back to my club and I'll get another chance. And then they came back we played Leinster in the Magnus League, and Dumper was calling out the team, and I remember being in CIT in Cork and on the track with Yiga, all the academy lads or the development lads, and Dumper names out the team for like Leinster, and like all the Irish lads back.
That can't be right. Hold on. Murray, hold on.
In Killer's mind, he's played in all these games, and he was at that World Cup. He was at that World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, Dumper, I'm here. Yeah. What box kick am I doing the weekend?
And Dumper called out the team, and it was like the whole Irish pack basically at the time. And then it was like Murray, O'Gara, blah blah blah. And remember you or someone was like, "Here, you're in." I was like, "What? No, the lads are back." And he's like, "He called your name," and then we were in. And after that, played the rest of the year, and then went to the World Cup after that. And it was all these mad new experiences that I was just, I think, not that I was too young, but I was just so inexperienced, and it was all so new. I was like rabbing the headlights, but we survived, and it's kind of sink or swim. But
was it intimidating? Like, I know it's like you were in with such some of the greatest Irish players of all time in the Munster change room, but when you're going up that level again and wearing the green jersey, is it a slight bit more of an intimidation?
Yeah, I genuinely, the first time I
hiding
went
up the car.
Yeah, I wasn't hiding in the car.
Right, we gotta go into it.
I wasn't hiding anywhere. Went to the Carton House for the first time, and I remember driving past the golf club and like Rob Kearney up there with his shades on and
Rob Natchez. Shout out Rob Natchez.
And I was just like, these guys, I've just watched them on TV for so long. I'd love to turn around the car now. I'm not built for this. And then you go and you train with them, and you end up chatting to them, obviously, and like all of a sudden you're like, Jesus, I can actually survive, or even like show how good I am in here. So at the beginning, yeah, very nerve wracking. But then once you kind of get in with them, it's like it's just rugby again. And obviously you need to be able to play well, but it took a while to just find your feet.
And it's mad there, because he asked me that question. Do you remember the first time you got a call? You know, the Ireland call, and I was telling him I was eating a bowl of wings in corner store. I was like putting back things. But even the way you said there, I remember being in CIT and being called out. Everyone, there's certain memories you'll always remember back to maybe the first whatever.
I suppose it's a moment like you want to, or you dream of, and you want to experience it, and then when it happens, you're kind of whoa, like your first phone call or whatever, or like the first
chicken wing you put
first chicken wing corn store and that sauce, 10 out of 10.
Can I get them to go, please?
I'm sure he finished them before he left.
Into the pocket.
When a lot of people think of the two of you, they obviously think of, you know, one club men, stalwarts, very long careers, but I suppose you were friends before that, and I suppose living together, like, you must have stories of, you know, life away from rugby, but also sharing the pitch together. You definitely have a few stories, Killer, do you?
Plenty of stories.
Plenty of stories. Yeah. What time is it? Is it past midnight?
I don't know anything suitable here for the airwaves, but no, we had. Yeah, as you said, it was living the dream. Plenty of stories, plenty of crack. But it is mad. We said about it, that generation that, like, remember that BNI Cup team that, like, you'd Sherry, Archer, Pete, you know.
Yeah, lads who made it through.
We did such a good crop, and it all came true. And we were chatting about you in 2011. I remember I was living with Sherry at the time, and he gets to Kidney calls you go to the World Cup. And then we're training all the time together, and you're seeing that, and it creates like this jealousy, this, you know, I want to be doing that as well. And that creates the motivation and the training, and everyone just ups it. Then you're like, well, mate, if he can do it, I want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Sherry was the more envious one. I was more happy.
Sherry be openly jealous and like kind of put a bit of hatred on you.
That should have been me.
No, I think that's
a drive standards.
Why certain percentage of that academy year or whatever came through the Munster setup, because like you'd see lads getting chances with, like, I think the most daunting thing for me was like my first few minutes at Munster, because you'd see lads getting a few minutes in the Magners League here and there, and you're like, will that ever happen? Remember Pete got one up in Ulster, maybe his first cap, and I was like, geez, that's like, how are we going to grabbing fellas by the collar. How are we going to get that chance, or when will my one come? Because I want to do that, and then like a big crop of us came through.
Training, because you go in. We used to train. I was saying, I remember those old. You would have been in the backs. Obviously, you were probably doing the same, putting in the balls and scrums. Like that A team going against. Do you remember we split between Tuesday and Thursday, Cork and Limerick? Yeah. We go down on Thursday. We'd be getting ready for war. You like, there's going to be a lot of fights here. You know, there's no cameras around.
It was always different level.
It was different level. It was full noise. Like the lads you're going against. Horn, Pace, Flap, Hawley, you know.
When did that change, I suppose, in that Munster? Was it when did
when the cameras came
violence?
when the cameras came in, you realised you could be called to court for some of the stuff that was going on out there.
Yeah, some of the fights were barbaric.
Yeah, and it was probably it's a generation thing as well. And
like sorting things out. Whereas now it's probably a lot. It's a lot more PC. It's a lot more. You'll chat after, or you'll be called into the coach's office. But it was
softer generation.
I'm glad we went through that, because it toughened you up, definitely. Like even having your first like confrontation, like I didn't have many physical ones, but like verbal like confrontation with someone older than you or more experienced than you, and then like, do you sink or swim kind of thing? Like, do they take you seriously? Is one I remember one with Foley, kind of giving out to him for not catching a ball or something stupid like that, and he didn't bite back at you, so you're like, geez, I'm right here, like, and then they're little like
that's a win
notches, little wins that you get. Like I remember one with Johnny as well when I came into the Irish squad. It took a long time to get a win against him, but eventually when it comes, you're like, yes, that's another like little feather in your cap, isn't it? To survive in that, especially the Munster one with the team we took over or whatever. Like
it was a change in the guard, but it was still like when Dumper was there. I remember those trainings; they were just like, you go out, you're nearly psyching yourself up for a game, and it is though. You're so competitive at that age. They're obviously top of Europe. They're you know, flying so high, and all these Irish stars, and that they don't want to be losing their jersey. Obviously, they smell there's a good crew, and we'd Axel, our coach, you know, the A coach, and we won the BNI Cup team that year.
Yeah.
And we had, you know, and even back then, you're looking like, what was it like back then? Remember, like, we'd go to Swansea, and Axel would always insist we'd stay another night over on Wine Street, so we might play the game on the Saturday. Normally, nowadays, you'd fly over, play the game home. Yeah. It was nearly compulsory. You were staying Saturday.
I know.
Game done, up.
Proper old school.
Old school.
I think that's why that team, or that A team, was really tight, and we did succeed, because we were, I don't know, we were a little, not an army on our own, but we had like a really tight team. And then when we go train against the seniors, we were like,
just remember the bus to Kilkenny, tell him that one, down to Pete, and they all came in.
We were all invited. There was like a good crop of us.
No, don't tell all the stories.
Yeah, were you on that bus?
Just tell the bus.
Were you on the bus?
No.
I wasn't on the bus either, but the lads, I was away, but a few of us academy lads were training with the seniors a lot. So the seniors were like, right, we'll invite some of them to our Christmas party, because they're kind of involved in the senior squad. And the boys showed up, and they went to a pub out in the country in Tip somewhere, and met the Cork lads or whatever, and a few pints there. And this is how kind of cocky we were as an A team.
So like the senior lads always get the back of the boat, like
the old school.
When you go on, like like when you have your seat there, I had it for 10 years. You're like, get up.
It's like we used to have it like when you'd be towards any career, when you had a seat at the back. If like a young lad was in your seat towards the end, you'd be like,
you wouldn't even give him his name. Like, you just
get
out.
And they wouldn't even move.
But they went for points, and then they were all in this pub in Tipsay where the Cork and Limerick players met, and the academy lads, like the young lads, Pete, Sherry, all these lads were like, let's we would sneak out early and get onto the bus early because they're going to Kilkenny obviously, and they got on and like strapped themselves in with the seatbelts, and the senior lads got on the thing and they're like, what the fuck is going on here? And I can't say much more. But they didn't take it like they weren't like haha good one. They were like proper
for WrestleMania and pulled them all out.
They were all hoofed out of it, like seats pulled out of the ground.
That was another change in the guard moment.
Yeah, that's what we were like as the A team though. We were like, we can take
that was
maybe it was a
thought we were the Harlem
Globetrotters, and then
you're beating Ealing away.
We missed that Christmas party, thank God, because it was a bit of a wild one.
Yeah.
That's all we can say.
That's all we can say about that. No social media see around back then. We got away with it. There was a lot more of that, and that's another reason. Like there was no camera phones as much. You know, they weren't. Well, you're working out a megapixel and a Napkin 3210. That's not me.
Yeah. You can deny that. Yeah.
You mentioned the change of guard, and I think it's interesting because you probably come into the Irish team at a very interesting moment of obviously your position at number 9, but that sort of uncertainty over the number 10 position for the first time in about a decade with Johnny Sexton coming in for O'Gara, and I don't know how much game time you would have had with O'Gara before that 2011 World Cup, but playing between the two, and obviously all the media, like probably from being back home, like it was Sexton v O'Gara, everything that happened in the Heineken Cup before. What was that like for you trying to transition and to get used to it, but also having a change in the guard at out half?
Yeah, I had a bit of game time at ROG before we went into that 2011 squad, and we won the Magners League, and Leinster won the Heineken Cup that year, but it was me and Rog playing towards the end of that year, and then it was like Owen Redden and Johnny Sexton. I remember they came down and played the final, and like Rog revenue up, like, Joe, see those boys now, we're going to rip them apart, and then you end up in the squad with them, and it was weird, like you said, a changing of the guard, and I was always watching like Redzer be like him chatting to Johnny and be like, should I go over and join that conversation, or should I stay away, or like should I show my presence? And that's just not like, I wouldn't be like that. So, and then it was me and Rog playing, and then I remember just trying to get myself right and try and play well and do what I can do. But like I remember being like front row seat to this Johnny and Rog thing, because we'd be in like backs units meetings, and two of them are obviously two really strong personalities, and there'd be a clip would go up of like training or a move we're trying to do at the weekend, and I remember one in particular, we were down in New Zealand and Johnny said, oh, we should do it this way, and then it was silence, and like, okay, we'll do that, and then Rog just goes, that's a shit way to do it, or something like. But two like, but a young sharks. Johnny was still I remember Johnny and Leo Cullen getting in like a physical fight in New Zealand, like at that time, and Leo was obviously quite a bit older than Johnny, and just him and Rog that time was just weird, because it was you could see Rog, not that it was hurt, it probably was hurting him, that there was a bit of a change, and then Johnny coming in unbelievably competitive, and then I'm there trying to find my feet as well.
United Nations.
United Nations, yeah. Sometimes you're better just being friends with everyone.
Peacemaking mission.
Yeah. So Decky probably saw me and was like, oh, he gets on with both of them, so just
happy days for chance.
Happy days for me. Yeah, it's strange.
The career, I don't know, Dave, if you probably see it the same, but I see you as almost a domino effect. So you went Munster debut, Ireland debut, and then within a couple of years again, it's a Lions tour. And like, that's rapid when you look at it in the space of 2011 to 2013, and all you achieved from that. Was that something that you were looking at, like, Lions is the next goal, or is that something that you always had in the sights?
If I'm honest, no. I don't know where that goal would have come from. It was like training the academy, and I was always like comfortable where like my friends were, and then like going to Munster into the senior team, like fuck, like just want to be around the lads or whatever. But then you realize that's another step, and you kind of take. For me, I ticked them off as they came. I never really thought about. I remember the first time I thought about Lions, we played Wales away in the 2013 Six Nations, where Zebo did his flick. I'm sure he'll tell you about that when he's on. He doesn't mention it that much. I just have it here on the iPad. And remember walking into the post-match function, we beat Wales away, and Decky was like, straighten up your tie or something like that, or put on or close your top button. And I was like, what? And he had line selectors are in there, like the just make sure you're looking the part. And I was like, for me, that I was always like imposter syndrome, genuinely, all the steps I made until you felt comfortable there. It's like, they won't be looking at me, but I did it up anyway. And then I was like, Jesus, he's saying that to me for a reason. They might be watching, and like then you're like, Jesus, hold on a second now, I'm playing for Ireland. kind of have to check in with myself every so often because it was happening quite quick for.
You're being very humble
age.
there, though. If you look at it, it's probably the quickest rise of any player I knew.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at it, now Murray was the sub-9 for number 8 I used to play for in our
Shout out Mark Rowley.
Shout out Mark Rowley, who's a teacher up here now, a great friend of mine. But Murray was
Great
sub
player.
behind him under 20s, 9, and all of a sudden 3 years later, he's played with Ireland in the World Cup. He's gone to Lions. He's won a Magners League within the space of, I'd say, 2 years. All that happened. So it was probably everyone else looking on, you're like, it was like an ascent that none of us had seen. You know, you couldn't, week on week, it was nearly Munster this week, Heineken Cup this week, Ireland this week, Lions. Now, I was right there with him, bear the Lions, which is politics.
He did get a letter one time that he was being considered for selection.
It must have been tough to turn him down though, Dave, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first man to say no to the Lions.
Yeah, I've actually a holiday booked there.
He was an INAFA.
I'll wait for the next one. But no, it was, and even looking on, everyone, and don't mean to be soft here, and I don't ever like giving Murray credit. You know,
I know, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, especially on the airwaves.
You have
but
to be
no,
nice.
it was, and one thing he never ever lost. You know, if that was me, he never lost his head. He was just always, you know, it never really phased him, never changed. We were living together, all of us, and you know, always was the same, constant professional. Never. Now, he did go to Portugal 2 or 3 times a year drinking spicy margaritas, and he lived a lifestyle in other senses.
It's called balance.
He was doing half a year in the HBC, the other half a year in Portugal. So that that's the side of his life did change. And never went to our Christmas parties towards the end because he was
Portugal, the time of year is lovely.
Exactly. Bold octopus.
Yeah, much better margaritas there. Yeah, it was wild. It was very quick.
Wild few years.
Crazy few years, but I think like if it happened, Killer, he wouldn't have lasted till the end because his head would have gone so big.
I'm saying here, I need to change a career. I need to get to Hollywood.
He would have all.
I've been doing the Rock.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
He was like, I'm meant for greater things here. That's his Lions coaches probably saw him. Just need to simmer him down. Egos and all that. But I just didn't ever feel like, not that you deserved it, but like each one along the way was like, fuck, I'm so lucky to get this chance or whatever. So make the most of it, and then you kind of just stay there.
Do you think that style suited you more at the time of your development as you as a
Yeah,
player?
Murray was very robotic. He'd do what he was told by a teacher. He did no better than
Look,
that.
I know you didn't get picked that much on the joke, so
actually.
you don't need to come
But I
out
just
against
know
me. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Proceed, Murray, with your eulogy for Joe Schmidt. 3 Hail Marys.
So it's safe to say
3 Six Nations actually under Joe, which is great.
Fair. How many under Andy?
2. So who's better? I know how he would talk about Joe, and that's, you know, every experience is different. But
Respect.
he was
There's always respect. Yeah.
But Joe ran like a really strict camp, and I'm sure you've talked about it. So like that side of Joe was stressful. But I talked to another player before, Andrew Conway, who, you know, we were talking about like the environment with Joe. Like I was picked probably 9 times out of 10 under Joe in terms of the
Dude,
amount
told.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Very important wins for Ireland.
Look up and express
lot of off the cuff stuff. A lot
yourself.
of really special moments. And so for me and the lads who were inevitably picked, it was like, right, it's going to be a stressful week. You know, with the like stress he put us under, but you had a good feeling that you'd be starting and you'd be playing for Ireland, and then because of how prepared he had us, say we'd have a good chance of winning most games at the weekend. So like for us guys starting, more often than not, you were kind of like, right, I'll just, not that you'd put up with it, but like you get through the week. Whereas lads who, no, I know you not, but other lads who weren't picked as much would go into camp, they'd be put under stress all week, probably wouldn't be that enjoyable, and then they wouldn't play at the weekend. So there's 2 kind of camps under Joe, and like you'd see
those
some
who
lads
would conform and those who would not conform.
Yeah, those. Yeah.
No, obviously,
you
yeah.
could
He
follow
was,
instruction and
do exactly what you're doing. Exactly. Here's a piece of water and bread after your day's service.
But like I suppose, and I think you're quite open to saying like you're not going to have the same relationship with every coach.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I suppose maybe as your career went on, you could maybe even see Dave's perspective from other ones. I know you've been open on maybe your relationship with Graham Rowntree and it maybe not being as pleasant as other people who would have.
Yeah, we actually have him here. Come in here, Graham. For Murray wants to have a quick word with you here. He's coming out here. 2 seconds.
Yeah, brilliant. Happy days.
Was that tough for you? Because I suppose like you've been very I think, open and saying how well you got on with coaches over your career. Was that perhaps the first stage where you felt maybe a different type of relationship with a head coach?
Yeah, and like, because you're retired now, and then it was towards the end of your career. Like it's very hard to answer it and not sound like you're bitter that it's going to end or whatever. So like, put it in the book because I had a chance to like frame it properly and tell the story fully from my end, and it was just, like you're still there was a period there where I was still like in the Irish 23, and then you come back to Munster and you just felt like you weren't shown the respect, kind of, to put like an example on it, just game time, you know what I mean? And we talk about Craig, who was the up and coming 9, and he'll be there for years and get on well with him, but it wasn't even that. It was like you were getting 5-6 minutes here at the end of some games, and you're kind of like, I just played in the Six Nations and I was on the bench for the Six Nations and got some game time, and you're kind of like, so there was just a bit of conflict there, or confusion on my end, because I knew I was doing, like Dave would say, like I genuinely
200 cap was the one that hurt you, and
yeah,
you know,
like
200 caps.
Just came back from camp
Was
again.
Connacht, yeah. And
Again,
you
Connacht
just- you
down in
played all
Castlebar, and I played. Craig got injured, in fairness to him, and came back from the Six Nations, and we were playing Connacht away in Castlebar, cool venue, like up in, it was a Mayo, yeah. We stayed in Westport, and it's my 200 cap, and before we had left, I had played the 2 European games, and I thought I'd come back, and you know, Craig hadn't played since he got injured, and then they start him, and you're kind of like, well, at least even if he's going to start for the rest of the year, at least just, you'd probably deserve a start for your 200. Like it sounds weird for me to talk to, but at the time I was like, oh look, I'm kind of used to this, I'll just forget about it, it's still going to be a nice occasion, blah blah blah. And then a few senior players in Munster came up and was like, man, why aren't you having a go off them? Like I was like, I literally don't have the energy anymore. And
you
like,
get
it
to
was
level
just,
where you're too, you've been there,
are you
done
too
it all,
proud,
you know,
or like you don't want to come across, even talking about it now, you feel like you're
But I think
showing
the overriding thing there is like, it's like every relationship with a coach is going to be different depending on selection, non-selection, how you get on with them, how you view them as their character. Do you know, even like with the Joe thing, you still like, I know I joke about it here, but you still massively respect. I massively respect what he does. I know I like slagging him, and he's like slagging me, but you have to admire what I massively admire what he did. You know, he created a
very successful
style,
team.
very successful.
But it
You
was a
can't
success.
unbelievably successful. Like, do you know,
And you see how Andy coaches as well. There's many ways to coach a team.
there's many ways to
and
skin a
they're
cat,
very-
exactly. And
it's
the
just,
two,
you're
and
not
then-
always
and-
going to get on.
And things like that can happen, like on a 200 cap or something like that, where you feel like you probably, and you think sometimes that they're doing it too vindictive, but it's not. That in his mind, he's probably, because we were chatting about yesterday. Like, I remember Andy dropped me for a game. It was in the 2023, the Grand Slam year, and Church had just come back, and but he needed to see him play, and you know. He even said it to me, he's like, you're going to find this hard to understand, but I'm doing what's right, best for the team.
Yeah, and you can respect that,
You
the
respect
way
it. I know
the way he frames it.
He
or,
gave it to you straight. And he was
or
like,
even the fact he had a conversation with you.
Yeah,
it's when they don't even say anything.
Yeah.
It was just like,
So would you not have got a heads up about that in McHale Park?
no, which is like just
Yeah.
a bit weird. But
I do think he was massively under pressure as well.
like, and needed results and the whole lot. I understand.
Yeah,
No,
and pressure.
so that's
You've
what,
seen what it does to people in that job. Like, we've seen it with all the coaches over the year. What it can do you have to be
So that's
very
why-
certain personality type to be a head coach of like, you're dealing with serious athletes at different levels. Competitive, all want to play. They have contracts on the line. They have Six Nations they want to be in. You're dealing with younger players coming through, trying to balance the squad.
Yeah.
Pressure from probably the media, they're not blooding enough young fellas. So
they get it from all angles.
Yeah,
whereas
so
as a player, you're just like seeing it from your own.
you can't just view it from your own, and you do as a player. It's only when you
Yeah.
look back now, you know, you respect kind of, I suppose, what they're going through as well.
Yeah, and you like, you'd have a smart rugby head, so you would be at
You're
the
probably
time.
not fake kidney.
You're kind of you're kind of thinking like, okay,
You had
maybe
pick me start and run out my 200 cap. It was brilliant. It was the best day ever. Loads of fireworks. Thomond Park was electric. It was unbelievable. It was the best day of my life.
There you go. See, that's the difference of perspective.
I know, and I suppose the other thing that we've maybe not touched on yet, and we spoke about the start of your career, we've gone in a bit about the prime, and then I suppose as you're weaning down in the years and getting closer to calling it quits, and maybe, like you said, their game time isn't what it once was, that has to be tough mentally on one side as well, like regardless of how much experience you have, like when you are seeing someone else who obviously you don't see as better than you, but often getting the rub of the green more often.
Yeah. No, it is it's a difficult thing to go through, but it's like, I think my experience, like I completely get the new generation of players coming through. They need to be given game time and bled into the team, and I think that's a very natural progression, and then that happens. But my experience is different because I went through. So I was with Ireland right until the end, and I just felt valued there, even though they're like Jemison was playing, and like he's been incredible over the last few years, and that's credit to him. And you get used to a new role, whereas it was just Munster. It was just a little bit. You weren't just given their, I don't know, was it respect thing or something? It just felt a little bit off for some reason. So that like my experience is weird, like, and it's really hard not to sound like bitter about it. But it's not. He'll bring this up and be respect, like, he's so bitter.
Respect is earned, not given by the Christmas party. No, I know. Yeah, it's look exactly. Yeah.
You were there. What was it like as a senior member of the squad though? And obviously you were very close to Conor. But what was the opinion of, let's say, yourself?
I can see exactly where he's coming from there. But I do genuinely think Graham was probably under massive pressure. That I don't think it was just Conor. I'd say there was other lads as well that probably, I think it was a commutative thing. I don't think it was just like, I'm not going to respect him. But
I don't think it was.
I know. Then
like
when you were going through it as that player, you see it from your own. And I'm not saying you just saw it from your own lens, but I think there was probably, pressure played an awful factor in a lot of how I suppose even the ambience and the atmosphere in
that's
the,
why like
the dressing room was.
Yeah, the dressing room was a bit weird, but from a personal point of view, like even though you could see like the head coach is under pressure, and so you like in the building, I would hope like you stuck a brave face on and you were cordial to everyone in the like. I think that's really important, and that's why I could like walk away with like my head held high, because especially in the Munster dressing room, you're playing with young lads who are just kind of starting their journey, and you don't want to be in there like a drain and like just moping around the place. And I genuinely never did that. I just like whatever grievance I felt, I'm glad I went into the dressing room.
Cry with Joanna and Kevin.
Yeah, crying.
If you got to do that, do it at home.
Yeah, do it at home. Yeah, like because you
get no sympathy off us.
No sympathy at all. Especially this man.
Yeah.
So you like that, and you kind of owe it to whatever was happening in the
team was
meeting
always,
room, the change room. Maybe there's a weird atmosphere, but the lads got on still so well.
We go down, there'd be a weird old atmosphere inside. You go down, then we just be lashing soccer balls off.
Yeah, and having fun, and you don't want to be that guy who's like, oh look, he's retiring, he's
been miserable.
Yeah,
because you do see it over the years.
Sometimes you see lads do that, and you're like, you just know that you don't ever want to be.
That's bad, you've seen how others have acted, and that's almost.
I've a list here.
Yeah.
So first bad apple to spoil the broth was no. But you never want to be, because that's people's character. Yeah, that's when character shows. When things aren't going well for you, and that's how you judge people. You see people going in with long-term injuries, and it's tough as well. But
but they're showing up and they're positive around the place.
Simon, like I often say, like, geez, like sometimes the media, there's like, oh, he was such bad money for Munster, and I'm like, he came in, played 2 ACL surgeries, he had other stuff off the pitch, very sad circumstances, and I just saw him come in every day, massive smile on his face, helping all the line-out lads. He wasn't playing. Yeah,
he was incredible. Yeah, he added so much value to Munster, and like
added
the
so much value, and then
just,
sometimes you get it like, oh, they wasted so much money, and that's why
I think people were just upset because he was such a good player that he left.
Exactly, and then you can see it from him, like they're like, oh, he was the big signing, and you're like, I actually texted him after he won Player of the Year with Leinster. Yeah. I was so delighted for him, and I know it's Leinster and the rivalry and all that. I was so delighted to see him, because he's such a great man. He's a great person. Like you meet certain people with an aura. Obviously, how good he is on the pitch, but he's just a brilliant person.
And like
he deserved that.
Yeah, he deserved it, and he didn't want to go away in the first place. You know, maybe his hand was forced. So us as players completely was forced.
Yeah,
us as players completely respected him, and like you'd be. Say you're getting your hair cut in Limerick, and like you can hear people talking like, oh, why did he go? Like traitor, all this, and you're like, so no one really knows unless you're in the inner circle. Yeah,
so like that's an Ireland move, and I think even for myself looking into it, everyone thought that I fancied trying a few titles Leinster. That wasn't the case of toys at the pram and wanting to.
Not at all. He absolutely loved it.
He loved his life, and
loved it. And look,
he's still really close to a lot of the players, and his wife is really close to a lot of the girls as well. So like he fully,
he's the kind of fella you couldn't not love being around him. It's just that, and whatever environment he's in, through his own merit of being wanting to be there or being forced out, he'll always contribute, isn't he? You just say that about him.
Yeah, he's just a good.
I guarantee when he goes to the Springboks, he's the exact same there.
Yeah, yeah. Which is, we talked about it on something earlier, like, but just being yourself in a group, and he's like, you know, some lads would put on a front because they might feel a little bit nervous about being in a group. He's just like the way
and
he
he
is.
had that saying, how we make other people feel.
Yeah.
RG makes people feel 110%. You know, takes him a liter of brandy and coke to get drunk, but
He's heavy legs. Heavy legs.
He's an expensive day. Literally a liter of brandy and coke to get that man drunk.
I suppose like that must be frustration on the other side then as well, because obviously me as a Leinster man as well, you look at the riches that are being brought in, you look at the Barretts, the Ioane, the Snyman as well. For you, obviously, you think you were quite open about it in the book and about, you know, bringing in imports and the transfer policy in Munster, but from the other side and looking at what other provinces are doing, is there a slight bit of resentment there and being like, how is this being able to happen?
Oh no, not towards other provinces. Like you see the players they bring in, and like in all of the provinces, like even Ulster, like bringing in the likes of Ruan Pienaar and these superstars who did really well for them. Again, it would be like the outside the Munster bubble or rugby bubble that people are like, oh look, why can they do this? Why can they do that? In the book, just looking back, and I think because you gave it your all, and us as a like local lads gave it our all and probably squeezed the most out of ourselves, that you can look back now and be like certain signings were just a bit off, and you're kind of like certain signing, like we've loads of unbelievable signings that did such a good job, but there was a few where you're like, don't see it, and we would have known someone who knew that player, or as senior players just never really been asked. And I was very careful in the book before I said it to ask other senior players. Maybe I was left out of the group, but like not many of them were asked about signings, and the money, they were given good money. It was just like, could you have just asked or like checked out with the senior player group that might know?
One thing in that, I do think like I not jumping to Munster's defence here, I am, but I just do like it is hard to always get it right. Like if you look at Leinster, definitely had a few as well. That,
I know, but
I think every province has, and ultimately a lot of it sometimes comes down to like Joe Rousey brought in, like Chris and John, who were like probably people didn't know him, and they contributed massively at certain times. It's like,
I
know what you're saying.
I think there was times where they could have definitely done it better.
Yeah, they definitely could. Yeah,
just out of like whether it be a personality of a new player coming in, or like an ability thing, or like injury proneness that we probably would have heard of before they arrived, and then then they get injured, and you're like, well, we kind of knew that before they came. Yeah. It's just a few. It's not like all the signings must have ever made, or like it was just one or two where you're kind of scratching your head a little bit as senior players and be like, but
and then I think on the other side then as well, and something that is becoming more and more rare, I think maybe in the Irish sphere it isn't, but in terms of being a one club man and stuff as well, and Munster boy growing up, supporting the teams, watching them win the biggest of titles and then representing them. And I suppose there could have been easier options to finish and to go abroad and to look at finishing elsewhere. You're obviously seeing
if there was a club in Kintytlago, I'd say Murray would have had it
all over.
That's what I'm doing in my spare time. I'm trying to launch a club up there.
He might be back yet with this R360.
So I was about to say with this Saudi stuff, so we're trying to get all of the episodes recorded as quick with Dave, just in case he gets an offer from Saudi.
He'd be gone. Yeah. If he was called a marquee player over there, he'd be gone.
It's my phone, by the way.
Yeah, we cut off the signal here.
See, all the unions have kind of come out now, and
they're probably. I don't know where it is, but like if they're coming out with statements like that, there's obviously a bit of fear that players will jump.
When you look at Live and the Saudi Pro League in football, and I suppose the darts is now happening over there.
It could be like a very similar
it's
result or impact.
And I can only speak for myself. Like I don't think I would have been ever tempted when you're in your prime wanting to play. But then if lads getting it, like you can understand, just say they did come in for you now. If you're 35, 36, or even if you're 31, 32, maybe you're not really in.
Yeah, if lads can see the future for themselves in Ireland, and it's not starting or where they want to be.
Out of the international fold a little bit,
yeah.
You're not really getting selected, and they're throwing this crazy money at you, and you can set your family up for lives. Look, we don't know where it's going to go, but it's definitely going to be something, I'd say, if there's
enough noise around and the unions are kind of collecting it. With us in Ireland, like we were always motivated to play with Ireland, and you were playing with your boyhood club that you loved, and like we were getting close to success and playing in big games, but then you knew you'd be playing with Ireland too, and offers probably did come in when you're in your prime, and you were like, no, don't want it, because we're very well looked after in Ireland too. People forget how well players are looked after.
That, like if you look at the Irish model, like
it's so good.
They're so like the union, the RFU, like they can control lads' game time to an extent. Coming up to maybe Six Nations, if lads I'm sure have played 8 or 9 games, coming to Heineken Cup, they might start him this one, put him on the bench here, and manage your game time so lads are fresh, which is, look at the English, where the clubs kind of own the players, it seems. I know they're doing the new RFU deals now, but
they'll be back like the week after Six Nations playing straight away.
And then the lads,
so
Murray's
that
over in
we were
Kinta
always in
drinking his-
Kinta again.
Sorry, Dubai actually. He's mixed it up now.
It would
He's in
be
a shower
UAE
somewhere,
after the
being his real
situations.
humble, never changed his head at all over.
Could be a nice place to play in that 360 league.
Yeah. Did you have offers though of like, I know you were saying you would have rebuffed them and rejected straight away, but like you in your prime, let's say as well.
Yeah.
Did you have had approaches?
Yeah. There was a good few from France at certain times when you were up for contract, and it was not that it was not tempting, but I was just so happy playing here and like playing with your club and your country, and we were in a successful period from 2013 right until literally last year. We were like winning Six Nations over, getting very close, and taking big scalps, and so like as an Irish person, like the thought for me was like, okay, if I leave now, I'll play with a big French club or whatever, but might not get picked for Ireland, probably not, unless you're Johnny and
Johnny rule.
The Johnny rule, and then you're going to miss out on like big days in the Aviva across the way there, and you're like, I just
Serious.
I really missed that. I would have loved.
My thing would have been the motivation. I would have found it, I think, very hard to get myself. Like, it's so easy to get motivated going into Thomond Park on a Friday, Saturday, and it could be like a random Edinburgh in a game. Or
it gives you a certain feeling
but
because
still
you've been there since you're 10.
Friends
Like,
are there, and I know it's cliche, it sounds all that, and you're like, it might be a dirty night in November, but you have a load of people in the stand who care about you, mad about you, and you're mad about them, and you're thinking probably crack after with the lads, and
it's very hard to replicate or visualize that being replicated. It's going away somewhere.
Now look,
it could be there. If
players do go. I mean,
maybe
we actually never know.
Like our little comfort zone, or our little bubble. But
never get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. We just had it good. Like we did. We had it
brilliant.
We had it great.
Better than anyone.
Yeah. Like we grew up. We would have gone to Thomond as youngsters watching those players play. You got to call that your home ground for 15, 16 years, and then you got to play in Lansdowne Road, Aviva for how many years? Like it's. So from my point of view, some players might have different, but like staying in Ireland and playing with Munster and Ireland was as good as it got, I think.
From the outside looking into your career, and when I think of big Conor Murray games, you have to talk about Chicago. When you think back on that, do you still realise how big of a feat that was? And going into it, obviously never beaten the All Blacks ever before, do you still expect to not reach it until you're actually on the pitch there?
Yeah, it was just a wild week. It was kind of like a perfect week, or the novelty of being in Chicago was like, it felt like touristy. Like we had a weird week, like it was a non-typical Joe week. Like we probably did 2 walkthroughs. We didn't train really. We trained in a park in like some housing estate in Chicago, and and we had like loads of free time, and we just explored the city. And then you turn up to the stadium. It's a big NFL stadium, Soldier Field, and you're like, this doesn't feel. For me, it kind of took away the nerves of it because it was such a novelty or something, and it didn't feel like you're playing. Like we were away from Dublin. It was I don't know who was the home team, but we were away from Dublin, and like usually playing the All Blacks at home, you're like, when I started playing, you were like, hopefully we just survive here and we keep the scoreboard down a little bit, or like, and that probably, it was never said, but that was, I think we lived through that transition of like keep the score down against Southern Hemisphere teams, and then being able to beat them. So that was the day I think it kind of turned.
There was obviously so much emotion around that time as well, and you look at pre-match what was done for Axel and the number 8 figure as well, and the two of you would say, don't put words in your mouth, you're probably so lucky to share so many memories with him. How much does something like that have an impact on a result, and afterwards there must have been something there as well?
Yeah, I've spoken about it before. I think they're like the Glasgow game we played the week after Axel's funeral there was something very powerful there. It was like there was no other option to, like, rugby wasn't really important that day, but we obviously couldn't lose the game, and I've described it as beautiful. Like, that's a weird thing to say around a death to someone, but that Thomond day was like, it was like a big it was sad, somber obviously, but it was like a celebration of him and how much of it
Earlsey
like,
got it.
Yeah, Earlsey spilled over, and like there was just an
his emotion probably
edge
so high,
to it.
Being
Yeah,
so close with Axel, and
but
then after that, the team were down to 4. And again, there's certain, you find it, because I was saying to Pete the other day, I can never remember the scores of any games. When you think back, like very little, because there's so many games, they kind of But there's certain games like that Glasgow game, you know, or you remember early going off and you remember the team coming in and we're like, this can't happen now. We're down to 14. This is bigger. Everyone's here for this. And that was probably one of the best performances we ever put on. And, you know, and
Your fate would be one of your...
it's up there because the game meant so much. And like I was even telling Luke the other day, we have how we finish off every game now with, you know, 1, 2, 3 axle, and it's still there.
I never knew that.
That'll
never go away. I'd say that's
going to continue his memory on. And I know Orla, his sister, is doing a thing at the moment. Move for Axel. Must give her a shout out actually on this because she's trying to raise awareness to keep his legacy going. But I just don't think it'll something that'll always stay with us. Yeah.
And then obviously you were asking about going forward to Chicago a couple of weeks later. There was still something there with because it affected us Munster players obviously deeply, but then the way Johnny spoke and the other players, like Axel was an Irish legend obviously and clearly a Munster legend too, but like the other players from the other provinces were still feeling something as well, and it was probably the first time we all got to symbolise it with the figure of 8 and
presented a jersey
presented jersey
came to Thomond Park. The lads
were
down there playing, you know, and they did the hack for him. It was you think it's
a weird time.
Then it was the Ireland
strange,
one. It was the whole world.
Or so,
It was the whole wider
rugby world, really.
Rugby world.
It was, everyone
knew legend, and it just shows how strong the rugby band is worldwide. Because
I think you asked would it affected the performance. It definitely affected both of those performances. I don't know, I can't put a percentage on it, but there was an edge or like a carelessness to the way you played. Not loose or anything, but like maybe fear was like there was no like Axel had died and you know he left 2 boys behind and his wife and family and everything, and you were just like, I don't know, it took away like worrying about a game. You know what I mean? It was just more than rugby. It was bigger than rugby for those few weeks, and obviously going back to Racing then a month or 2 down the line, like it was still there, that kind of fear.
I like the story on Axel here because we're getting very emotional. His dad, Brendan, is the biggest legend ever. He was our busman.
Correct.
Bus driver. He's driving. Yeah, great fella. He used to drive us down to Cork when we were travelling down the Munster 18s, 19s, 20s, and there was 1 or 2 lads from Munchins, I won't be saying names here, Jason Organ and a few others were causing him absolute carnage, throwing stuff up at the bus, and he was starting to kind of get ready. Now he was a real man you wouldn't cross, really fair,
shake him,
but he'd be very strict, and it was like seatbelts on and no eating on the bus were the kind of 2 rules. So 2 rules, fair
Killer
enough.
obviously didn't follow the no eating on the bus.
So I was sitting beside Mike Sherry and Jason Organ. No name.
You're really putting him in it.
Yeah. Sorry,
I think he lives in the States now, does he? So
he's
sorry.
in California now, so he threw a banana at the back screen of the bus. You're only young fellas, 19, 20, thought this was hilarious. Brendan whips in the bus anyway to the side, come down, and he's like, man, you wouldn't cross. He was so gentle, so sound, but he's a streak in him as well. Rips the bus over anyway to the side. We're like, oh, we're in serious shit here. So everyone's anyway. Food all the way, hiding the food with all the sweets and seatbelt straight on.
Killer eating all his, so he's alright.
He's just coming down then. Mike Sherry slips open my belt and has a load of Starburst and just throws it all over me. And I just looking at Brendan like this, and he was like going right in the face. It's like, it wasn't me. And it's like this. And I slipping the sweets into my pocket for later.
You
never
were
has an opportunity.
Dirty with that.
So that was,
Initiations in rugby. Because it's something that obviously only such a small circle sees, but it's still such a normal thing. I remember Craig Casey belting it out a couple of years ago after his first cap.
Yeah, during the COVID, yeah.
What was your initiations? Do you
it's
remember?
a song at the top of the bus, isn't it? Or in the, if it's with Ireland, it's in the post-match function, so it's like...
Or a new sign, and first time you're in, you have to go up and... I cringe sometimes. You go in, the lads have to come in and...
Oh, and they talk about themselves?
Yeah, and then you get some... Well, usually one of us, me or Archer, someone at the front seat going... sit down. But they're like, oh...
Just as they start talking...
I'm Reece Marshall. What's he saying?
Yeah.
I'm a sheep farmer from... Yeah. We're like, oh, yeah. And he came in with such energy, and you're like, yeah, sit down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they bring that into the Lions a bit this year as well? I think I saw some of the clips of where they'd be like, right, go in and introduce yourself, and then everyone just walk off.
Oh, that's Aled Walters. That's his favourite thing.
Well.
He'd put lads on the spot. like a new lad into camp or something, like obviously quite nervous anyway, and he'd be like, come up here and talk about yourself, give us a minute of your time or whatever. And like I've seen him do it so many times. Every time that player, you can see the player being like, what am I going to say here? And then the player starts talking and like, oh, thank you very much. Like, he just shuts him off.
Dismisses you straight
and you can see the relief in whoever it was. Like, oh, thank God.
He was our coach. We great cheers with him at it as well.
What a guy.
What a guy.
He's the S&C.
He's in with Ireland now. That just shows you Faz gets the best people in around
people,
him. And Lions won, and we had him for years when we were in the academy with Munster, and he was unreal.
Yeah, proper buzzer.
Well, lads, this has been an absolute pleasure. I know we could probably go on for way longer, but Conor Murray, thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank you. What an honour. Thank you, guys. Hopefully, it didn't get in too much trouble with this episode.
This will be the last time I see you, Conor.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to know you. Dave, is that your name?
Best of luck with your new life in Derry. And